Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Prudence Network. I'm your host, Prudence. And today I am joined by the incredible Helen Bullen.
Great, I love that. What a great start.
It's a drum roll.
Oh, I love
Okay,
it.
so Helen is an entrepreneur, business mentor, award-winning author, and retired osteopath. Helen was diagnosed with stage 3 triple negative breast cancer during the COVID period. Okay. She documented her journey with honesty, humor, and courage. And during that period, she had to go through an emotional roller coaster, and a lot was going on. And to be honest, she documented her journey with honesty, with humor and courage, even giving names to her breast.
As
Okay,
you do.
we'll talk about the names later because it's like she names everything. So, behind the diagnosis was a woman determined not to be defined by cancer. There was a husband named Eddie who never left her side, and a wonderful friend, Jackie, who became a listening ear when Helen needed one the most. So, Helen, welcome to the Prudence Network.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Although we're both sitting here very hot, aren't we? Right now it's a heat wave whenever this goes out, but right now it's very warm. So we both have our glasses going up and down
Our
throughout this.
glasses are sliding down. I'm like, what is this? All right. I've been looking forward to speak to you.
Good. I've been looking forward to this. Yeah, it's lovely. It's nice to have a chat. I love having a chat. And I always like talking about breast cancer and cancer, just in case I could give somebody a glimmer of hope or just a bit of a smile, really, all about it, which seems an odd thing to say, but that's why I like talking about it.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. All
Yeah.
right. So we will start with like an icebreaker.
Okay.
Okay. So you can finish the sentence.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Ready.
The quickest way to make me smile is.
To make me personally smile,
Yes.
is to do something a bit silly, not silly dangerous, but like if you sang in a funny tune to an advert, I am likely to laugh and sing along with you. But I'm not very good at comedians unless they've got a little bit of swagger with them as well. If it's just a joke, I'm sometimes going, I don't get the joke. So normally what makes me laugh is something a bit silly, and I like to laugh a lot. My
You like
husband makes me laugh a lot, or I'm laughing at him maybe, but he makes me laugh a lot.
That's amazing. Okay. What is your most used phrase?
Sit your butt down and get the job done. I say that a lot. I'm known as being kindly blunt in my working world, and I do believe sometimes we all need to say, just sit down and do the job. So yeah, sit your butt down, do the job.
All right. Something I am surprisingly bad at is.
Spelling. I don't know if that's surprising, but I can't spell. I love AI for the fact that I can check quicker my spelling and my grammar. It hasn't really held me back, but sometimes I think probably I'm on the spectrum of being a bit dyslexic, but I've never been tested. Sometimes I don't even know how to start to spell it, which my
Oh,
husband is a very good speller, so he finds that entertaining. So yeah, we entertain each other.
spellings. Okay, that's quite interesting of you. Okay, Jackie would describe me as.
A confident who can keep a secret. Not that she's got secrets, but I'm one of those friends. If you tell me something, I'm not going to go and tell half a dozen people. I'm a good friend, and I will always listen. And listen, I think listening, I'm good at listening, and so she. And we walk a lot, and it's like what's said on the walk stays on the walk. We have a whinge and a moan, or whatever it is, a laugh, and then we just carry on. Yeah.
Oh, that's Jackie. Thank you, Jackie, and shout out to Jackie.
She's great. Everybody needs a Jackie, absolutely.
Everybody does. Everybody
Yeah.
does. Okay, let's go to the last one. If Eddie wrote a book about living with me, he would call it.
How I survived, I think. How I made it through. I think that might be the title. Yeah.
I made it through.
He'd probably say how I got away.
How he got away. Oh, okay.
No, in
Not,
a
not like,
joking form. Yeah, no. We get on very, very well. And his sense of humour, how quickly can I get away from her? Probably.
yeah. I hope he writes a book one day.
I think it's very unlikely. It's the
Very
last thing.
unlikely.
Although he can spell and his grammar's good, he's a really good proofreader. So he has proofread for me before on some of the books I've written. But no, as to writing, no.
No.
No. He'd rather play bridge or watch football, play football. That's more his thing. Writing a book, I can't see it happen. No.
No. All right. So let's dive into the moment, into the podcast itself for today. Right. So take us back to the woman who walked into that doctor's appointment, the first appointment of all this. Did she have any idea that her life was about to change?
No, so I had a routine mammogram and it was my second one. So I was 54 and it was my second mammogram. And on the day my daughter was moving house, and I'd actually and they still do it, but when I did it, you went to Sainsbury's car park and there was a trailer in the car park and you went there. And it was COVID and raining. I am fed up because it's raining. I can't go in because the other person's in. It was during COVID where you couldn't both be in at the same time. Standing in the rain, moaning, and had no idea when I walked away after having my mammogram that anything would be wrong. I just assumed I'd done it, ticked the box, well done for having a test that's given to you. It's not the most comfortable thing, but it's bearable. But I was moving, my daughter was moving house that day, so that was my mission. So I thought absolutely nothing of it until I got a letter, which is really when the medics got involved, and it said, would I go back to the Jarvis Centre, which is a centre near Guildford, which screens you again, or that's how the letter read. It says only 3 out of 100 people get called back in, but it's normally not anything. So I again went to that appointment. I didn't take my husband because I said, I'll be back later. See you, I'm off. I might go shopping in Guildford afterwards. Thought nothing of it until I walked into a room. And now I look back, they had a couple of nurses that came up and introduced themselves to me. And I was like, oh, that's lovely. Because I was like, that's a bit odd, but lovely. And then I walked into the room, and because I'm a retired osteopath at the time, I was retired, just about retired then. And I walked into the room and I saw the scan and I said, oh, that doesn't look good. But what I thought the man would say, the lady would say, it was a lady, sorry, there was two ladies. What I thought they would say was, you're wrong, you know very little as an osteopath, that's not read it right. And she just went, no, it's not good. And I was like, oh. So that was the beginning. That's really when it started, and I had absolutely no idea. And funny enough, I wrote my book with blogging, but I literally was writing some content in the waiting room. I'm a business person. If there's a spare bit of time, I write some content. So I was all writing, I'm sitting here, we're all separated, husbands are outside. I didn't have mine with me, but we were on those seats, and they used to have one seat that was available, one was taped over with tape, and you could sit on it. It was that sort of scenario. And I had no idea. I was merrily doing my content, messaging people, doing all the stuff. So yeah, bit of a surprise, really.
Yeah, and I don't know why did it have to happen during COVID? Like,
yeah, I think
cancer arrived during COVID.
Yeah, I was fortunate because I was diagnosed in 2021 and COVID was 2020. And if you read my book, you know that I had enough traumas trying to get married in 2020. That was half the problem. And then 2021. So by the time I was there, we were shut down a bit, but not as much as 2020. And I was diagnosed in the June. So we were coming out. I couldn't go to hospital and take lots of people with me, and you had to wear masks. So I feel I was fortunate. I also feel that I'd closed my clinic in 2020 because I had a clinic. My husband had got early retirement. So actually, and my kids had moved house. My daughter was moving that day. My son lives on his own. My stepdaughter, they're all well, happy, grown up. If I had to choose a time when I got cancer, I think I was quite fortunate. Everything was sort of as good as it could be if I was going to have to do it. I wasn't still having to go into work full time. I wasn't running the clinic. That was a huge clinic and it would have been a lot. And my kids were all right. They were well. They were settled. They would be okay without me. And you don't want them to be without you. But I could, because there's lots of people get cancer younger than me that have got young children. And that must be really hard. Of course I worried. I mean, my lovely friend Jackie that you mentioned, the one thing I said to her is, if my daughter gets married, because she's moving with her boyfriend, I said, please could you go and choose her wedding dress with her? I don't want her to be alone. So I booked that in just in case.
Yeah.
That's the one thing we need to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, because I thought you were going to be very lonely, and there were a bit of challenges during COVID. Were there challenges though?
Yeah, it was. I mean, people couldn't come and see me.
Yeah.
People couldn't come close. So I remember some friends came around just before I started my chemo, and they sat in the garden. I sat indoors. When I went into hospital, Eddie was allowed. I went to St Luke's, which is now called the Guildford Cancer Hospital in Guildford, and they were letting a partner come in. He wasn't never allowed in the chemo room, so I never had anybody, and that was hard because I think it would have been nice to have him hold my hand there. He could go down into another area. But I know the Marsden at that time was only letting the patient in. So I was fortunate in that. So it was difficult, but I think that was on my mind. You know, there were bigger things that were difficult.
Yeah. Than COVID.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, I had to keep away, and I obviously had to keep well, because if I got COVID, I wouldn't be allowed in for treatment. So I was a little bit to everybody, all right, back off, stay away. But people were still doing that around the time I was diagnosed. So yeah,
You were safer with that anyways. Yeah.
Maybe I was, because people were aware of germs being spread, whereas maybe if it was before that, people would have come around with colds and coughs and wouldn't have thought anything of it.
Yeah. And people sometimes imagine that a healthcare professional will cope better with a diagnosis. And did your years as an osteopath prepare you for this moment?
No, I don't think so. I'd love to tell you, yes, it was great. I couldn't, even after my mammogram, and I had stage 3 in my right breast, and also, or Agnes, as we'll call her later, and my armpit, all my lymph nodes as well were infected as well. And they told me that pretty early on. And I can't remember what the question was you just asked me. I was going somewhere. What did you just ask me? I've gone through menopause since it as well. There you go. That was proof.
Yeah.
Go back to your question again, Prudence, so I can answer it properly.
Yes. Okay. The question is, were you ever prepared for that as a healthcare professional?
I'm back on it now. So you would have thought I might have been, but I actually had been through life, and I'm going to touch wood now because I think I'm doing it again, really having very little wrong with me. I'd had a knee arthroscopy. I was pretty healthy. I was running. I played National League volleyball for ages. I ate healthily. I never smoked. I didn't think it would get me. So that was the surprise. I think maybe I understood too much, because I do know that what cancer does, and I do know how it spreads, and I do know the stage 3 wasn't that good an option. I knew it wasn't good to go to my lymph nodes. I knew the size of the tumour. I think one of them was at one point was 2.5 centimetres. That wasn't brilliant.
Wow. Yeah.
But I have to say, I didn't know much about triple negative breast cancer. I didn't know much about that, because it's a rarer one, which isn't hormone related at all, which is unusual. Lots of people think it's due to hormones. It's not. It's quite often related to the BRCA gene. And I got tested. I don't have the BRCA gene. I'm very fortunate. I may have another gene that they haven't found yet, but right now it's not linked to the BRCA gene. So I'm very lucky with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So were there any signs or symptoms like prior to this
No, I had none. I had absolutely none. I don't want to frighten people, because there are lots of times when people have cancer places and you can feel it or you feel ill. I didn't have any of those. I'm pretty stoic, I think. So I'm pretty busy. So whether I would have noticed, but I hadn't lost weight or any of those things. I hadn't felt uncomfortable. And even when, after my mammogram and the tumours being big, I said because I've studied in palpation as an osteopath, we use our hands a lot. And I said to the oncologist, I can't feel it. And he said to me, it's really deep. You wouldn't have felt it on your own. Now that's quite rare as well. Most people feel something. He said, I'm really struggling to get it. We've seen it on the scan. But so I couldn't feel it. So just go for those tests. You know, if you've got a test, whether you think you haven't got time or you think you like it very much, just go do it. Right, I'm going to do a bit of this. I'm hot. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you can do that.
I've got my book. Look.
That's how hot it is.
It's really hot. Like, I think it's 31 degrees in this house at the moment.
So hot. I'm sweating everywhere. But
I feel I need to do this. Okay, I'm back in the room. Sorry, everybody watching the podcast, but you'll probably get a sense of my sense of humour by me doing that. That's how the book is everywhere. Filled. Yeah.
Right. So now let's meet Agnes and B. Is it B or Bear?
So it's B-E-A, short for Beatrice.
B.
So Agnes was Agnes and B. And my grandma, one of my grandmas was called Beatrice. And also, I hope this is okay on your podcast, but also, I always liked my right boob. I don't know, do people have favourites? I did. I liked my right boob, yes. So she was A. She was always number A. She was A and this was B. This was second. And now I feel really bad, because B, as in B-E-A or B, number, the second in line, actually she never got cancer. So there I am, loving Agnes, or A as she was. So I used to think of my boobs as A and B. And then when cancer, I was like, Agnes sounds like, and sorry if anybody does know an Agnes, I don't. And it also sounded like agony to me. And then I started to dislike Agnes. So through the book, you hear me talk about Agnes, and I am mad with her. And I think that may be where my sense of being an osteopath comes. I know how cells divide. And cancer is when cells divide and they don't do it quite right, and then they keep doing it and they get carried away and they get a bit excited and they make a mass of cells that aren't the tissue cells. So I was like, you've got your mathematical calculations wrong, Agnes. And I was mad. You can't even do division. It's cell division and you couldn't do it. So I sort of wanted to write the humour in it, and there are some dark bits in it, but I just wanted to tell it how I felt it was. And for me, being cross, I made my boob not mine. So it was like there was something on my body, but I wasn't interested. And Agnes, you can go as far as I'm concerned. You have let me down. Bless her, she fed 2 children, so I'm really being very, very mean to her. But, she's not around anymore, so I can say all I like. She's not listening.
Yeah. Yeah. So everyone, go get the book. Go get the book. I'll show you the book later. The book is amazing. It's got everything. It's got humor. It's got emotions. It's got people who were not so kind.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people mean to be unkind. But I think in every walk of life, people say things and you go, really? Did you say that?
You just say that.
Yeah. Did you really? Did you say it's only hair when I lost all my hair? It's quite important, my hair. I know it shouldn't be, but it is. So, people, and I wrote the book, and you'll see in the book that I've got little blocks that are kindly blunt advice, either for the person going through it or for somebody, because I want the book to be read by people who are going through it, or they know somebody going through it. So they could look and go, that's maybe what I should think about doing. And everybody is different on a cancer journey. I wanted people to listen. Some people don't want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it a lot, but if I did, I just wanted you to listen and not give me your best advice. Just listen, and that was the best thing. And Jackie obviously did that. My lovely friend Jackie. Yeah.
Yes. So we have 2 names. We have Agnes and B.
Yes.
And Agnes was the one affected by cancer. Yeah. Yet you often separated her illness from yourself. Like,
absolutely,
this is a separate thing. So you will say Agnes is sick, not me.
No, and
Talk about the power that gave you that.
Yeah. I didn't really realise it until I started editing the book, and I was like, wow, I have almost taken her off. And I think probably it might have been because when I first really got told, because you have all the scans, they say you've got cancer, and then you go and see a consultant, they say, right, we've done the test, you've got stage 3 triple negative breast cancer. And actually during that talk, I really thought she told me I was going to die. I had a nurse there and Eddie, and when I came out, I just burst into tears, and they went, that isn't quite what she said. There was a chance, because triple negative is quite aggressive. But I think then I disassociated it at that point. I think I just went, well, I'm fighting this thing I don't like. And some people don't like people saying they fight cancer, and I get that. But for me, I'd like to punch my way out of a paper bag. I literally will be fighting. That's just me. I'm very competitive. I've played top level sport. And so for me, it was like, I'm putting you over there. I couldn't literally, and I'm annoyed with you, and I'm going to ignore you until you're gone and the cancer's gone. And I've been told early on that I triple negative, they tend to do intense chemo, really intense, and then you had a mastectomy. There's no it's gone. It had gone after my chemo, but I still had to have a mastectomy because it comes back so frequently. So I knew Agnes was going. So it was like, yeah, go, clear off. I would have, if I could have had her the day after I got told removed, I would have gone, yeah, great, take everything away, just leave me. So it gave me a strength, but I don't think, if anybody's listening that's been through cancer, you don't have to feel the same way I did. It was just, that's how my brain works, is to go, right, you're nothing to do with, nothing to even let me down.
Yeah.
I know people a bit. If people let me down, I'm a bit like, no, I can't be. Or if people are mean or nasty, I don't want to know. And I think that's how I felt Agnes was. I treated her well all these years.
Yeah.
Maybe she was my favourite. So I treated her well all these years, and then she'd done that to me. So yeah. I quite like making her a third person.
So with Bear, like B.
Yeah.
B is on the left, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So were you having any conversations with B? Like,
not really.
Don't let me down, or did you started loving her more?
I definitely liked her, and I didn't like Agnes. So it's so weird now when I'm talking about it. B, I remember saying I was very sorry that I'd never thought she was my favourite boob. I'm so sorry. I can't believe it, and you've not let me down. But no, not particularly. I aimed it more at Agnes. The book is me. You know, B's there and she's hanging around. And my second book is me, B, cancer-free, because B's still with me. So I embrace B a bit more in the next one. But no, she was just hanging about, doing her thing. Being a boob.
Just being a boob.
Being a boob. Yeah, being a good boob, a well-behaved boob.
Well-behaved one.
Well-behaved.
And your humor, did you start being this like humorous after the diagnosis, or it was just you? Did it change your personality?
No, I've always tried to joke about things. I am a joker, but I can also lie on the floor, cry my eyes out. So I can have two ones. So there were times in that book where I didn't want to see anybody. The chemo made me feel so ill, I have to say. And I remember getting halfway through, and I had 18 rounds of chemo, most of them were weekly. I remember getting to 9 and someone said, oh, you're halfway, and I just burst into tears. I didn't know how I was going to do another 9. So I think, it just took a lot out of me, basically.
That was a lot.
It did, definitely took a lot out of me. But the jokey thing comes, my dad is pretty, well, he thinks he's funny, I think he's quite funny. I think I'm funny. You know, if I do a talk on stage to business people, I'm normally, not a joke, but I'm normally making light of something or pointing out how I'm more of a character person type. I'll point out what
real. I'll say you are so real. You don't hide anything.
Yeah, no, I don't, and I can't. So when they say right now, oh, AI is coming, we've all got to go back to being real, I'm like, well, I have no chance. I've never not been able to be the real me. Like, hallelujah. That yapping trend that's come out, I'm like, well, I've been doing that for ages. I've just been saying what I think. So I think the book came from that, but writing the book was helpful. I wrote it as a diary. I didn't know if it was going to be a book, and I have written books before, so I've written 2 books before that. And then I was like, I think this could be a book. And then what I wanted to do was help other people. I wanted to sort of, number 1, share my story, that it's not easy. Number 2, show that you can have a sense of humour. Number 3, help people that are maybe watching somebody go through it and think, I don't know what to say. Because I had a lot of people uncomfortable around me that just didn't know what to say. And, you know, just a little bit. Sometimes it's nice to know, isn't it? What should I say or not say, or, you know. And I never tell anybody exactly what not to say. I could just say it's probably better not just to compare having your hair, not having your hair to, you know, like how great, you don't have to pluck your eyebrows and all that sort of stuff. Probably not the best thing to say. Just listen to what they talk about. Yeah.
Just listen. All right, we'll come back to Agnes and B. So let's talk about Eddie, because everyone, well, I can't say everyone because some people are really lonely. They are facing these things on their own. But most people, they have someone on their side, like people who never leave their sides. And Eddie sounds like quite a hero, standing next to you, beside you, throughout this story. Because I could see Eddie from the start to the finish. And
he's a great guy. And, you know, as I said, it was quite fortunate. He had retired, he got early retirement in 2020. He was going to go for another 3-5 years. He got early retirement. I'd retired. But he was good. But the thing about Eddie is Eddie has had cancer too. Before I knew him in 89, he had testicular cancer. So we do joke that he's one bald and I'm one boobed. And I said that in my wedding speech. We laughed. We couldn't stop laughing. It was like, we're the perfect match. So he was actually even treated at the same hospital as that I went to.
Yeah.
We didn't know each other back in 89. He knew what chemotherapy was about. He knew what it did to you. And I would sometimes say, I'm so sorry, I've been in a bad mood. And he'd say, that's absolutely fine. I'm surprised you're not all the time. And he's just there. And do you know what? It wasn't new for the cancer. That's why I married the guy. He is lovely. And he's my biggest cheerleader. He drives me nuts sometimes. You know, the football, I love the football at the moment, but it's always on. You know, he can drive me up the mad. And sometimes he drinks too many pints when we go out and he thinks he's funny and he's really not if I'm driving. But apart from that, he is my biggest cheerleader and supporter, and he was a rock. He was absolute rock. Took me to the appointments, sat in the waiting room for hours. Sometimes my chemo was like 4 hours. He would wait for me. He'd take a book, never complained. So I think I owe him. Not good. Not that I want him to get ill. So I think I've got to be nice to him forever now. Just a little bit of hardship.
You signed a contract.
I think I may have done, in blood, literally.
Yeah. So who was Eddie behind the hospital appointments? Because we did not really see it in the book. Like, did he ever say how he was feeling for you, or if he was worried, if he was stressed, praying for you? I don't know. Who was Eddie? That is
Yeah,
not
so he
besides that.
was, I imagine he was a bit like a swan that was calm on the top, but underneath wasn't. So to everybody around, in fact, that's probably not, he probably did talk to some people. He didn't want to talk to me, tell me he was upset. I could tell he was, because he was more, not he's not loving, he was more loving and very caring of me. I was like a fragile glass that he was going to protect and do anything for, which was lovely. But we've got a big group of friends, so all our friends are people that we met when our kids were little at school. You know, my daughter met one of her best friends when she was 3. I'm really good friends with her mum now, and then we got a big group of us. So the boys go out and the girls go out, and we go out together. There's probably about 40 of us, and the boys go to the pub every Thursday night. Big number. So we do lots of things together. All our kids are now in their 30s, late 20s, 30s. In fact, they're all having children, so they're all becoming grandparents. But he would go, they would come and pick him up for the pub. Somebody would make sure if the football's on, the local team, he would go and do that. So they were really good. So they looked out for him, and the girls looked out for me. So yeah, we're really fortunate. But he's not really, so I'm going to tell you this on the podcast. Eddie will write me really loving things in a card. So he loves to buy a card at Christmas and Valentine's and birthday. But actually saying it out loud, he's not really, I don't know whether all men are like that. Some men are. So he didn't want to worry me. I could sometimes see by his face when he saw, I remember a day that I walked up the stairs and I couldn't get up the stairs. And actually it turned out my white blood cells had gone really, really low. I couldn't have chemo. I was very, very poorly. And I could see then he knew that something wasn't right, but he tried to cover it. But you can sort of see the shock in somebody's eyes. And I knew I wasn't well. But no, Eddie is like that. He is. His mates call him Steady Eddie. Steady Eddie, because he just is steady. You know, he's very practical. He can cook. He can do washing. I didn't have any of that problem. He is very much. We share everything in the house, and he's just great. I could just do a whole podcast on Eddie, but don't ever tell him. I can't let it go to his head.
Oh dear. Thank you, Eddie. If you will ever listen to this sometime in the future, thank you so much.
I'm not letting him, because he'll want more. He'll be like, oh, you really do owe me.
So did cancer bring you guys closer together than before? Or did it change your relationship, or it was just the same?
I think it was pretty similar, because we both look at, and he's had some health problems that I'd looked out for him a few years before. Not the cancer, but some other stuff. I think we just know we will. And we have been together like 21 years. We chose 2020 to get married, but we've been together a long time. A second time around for both of us. We know what we want. I'm loud and chatty. He's quite quiet, but we're both very similar in our ethics and ethos. And all our kids get on. So our kids have been a blended family since the youngest one was 6. So a long, long time. And we've always got on well, but he really did pull the stops out. He was very, very good. Yeah. Again. Sorry. It's a good marketing the book. Maybe I should just do it like this. Ooh.
Yeah, you need to fan yourself like that.
Another one.
Oh dear. I'm so glad you have Eddie in your life. Everyone needs an Eddie.
Everyone does need an Eddie. You're right.
Everybody does. And on to Jackie, because I see the book mentions Agnes and B, but we do have lots of Eddie and Jackie. And the word cancer is there, but we have more of the names, like the real people who were there for you and your children, your 3 children, 2 daughters and your son.
Yeah.
It's something which is lacking nowadays, having family, or even to trust your partner. Even to trust your friend. There is a lot of betrayal going on, but these people were always there for you. So with Jackie, you mentioned she was a listening friend.
Yep.
She was not a judging friend.
Not at all.
Tell us about the gift of having someone who did not always try to fix things, like Jackie.
Yeah, so Jackie and I she used to say to me, do you want to walk? We've always walked together anyway. We used to run together when we were younger. So we've known each other since our kids were about 11, and they're now mid-30s. So we'd always run. We've been friends together, and we weren't running now. We were doing more. She said, would you like to walk? I was like, yeah. And there's a coffee place. You can walk through the woods. So we'd always have that as a key. So every day, most days, she would either come and pick me up or I would drive if I was well enough to walk. Or she'd come and just sit here. Sorry, I'm so hot. I'm going to have to do this.
No, that's okay.
I'm having a right old moment here. So we would walk, and then she would just say, so what's the last test? And Jackie is great that she's not frightened to ask a question. She's really interested. She does it generally. So I hope she doesn't listen to this. She'll be like, oh, I didn't know that about myself. But she does it generally. She listens and she'll ask questions because she really wants to know. So when you have an MRI scan, where do they put it? What do you do? How long do you sit for? And I found that quite nice. I also found it funny one day. I kept saying thank you to her, but every time I tried to say thank you, I would cry. So I would talk to her more about my children. I didn't talk to that about anybody else really. And I'd say, can you just make sure they're all right? If I go, you don't need to do much. Just if Louise needs you to go for a wedding dress, could you do it? If Joe needs something, could you sort them out? Could you just... And she said, of course. And then I remember one day trying to say thank you and crying. And I said, oh God, I'm so sorry. When we walk, I'm just talking about me. And she goes, well, it's all about you until your chemo's over. And then January, we're having fresh subjects. And that made me laugh. That just made me laugh. That was like, great, you're absolutely right. The fact was, I ran it on a bit longer because I had to have some operations. She was like, all right, we'll run it on till March. All right, I'll go on then. So she was just great that she didn't judge, but was genuinely interested. And I don't think everybody needs that, but I just needed somebody that wanted to know about it. And I could tell them the story and say, oh, this happened, or this didn't happen, or I was worried about this. And walking, I think, is a really great way to talk to somebody because you're side by side. And you're not, although I could sit and talk to Jackie that. Yeah. And we were doing something. I had to walk with poles quite often. And sometimes we just walk to a bench and sit down and have a coffee. But it was just somebody to connect with. And it was very good. She's part of the big group. So she would relay what I wanted her to relay to others. So I didn't get asked lots of questions all the time. And yeah, and we're still, I'm walking with her tomorrow morning. We go for a walk and we put the worlds to rights. We still do that. But during the book time, it was all about me. Yeah, great.
It's all about you.
Yeah, she doesn't let me do that so much now.
I think it's because Jackie knew you so much. She knows you so much that it's time for me to listen to Helen now. It's time for me to talk. So that's really how much she knows you. Yeah.
Really close friends. And we both think the same, and our kids are the same sort of age. And it just worked brilliantly. And I'd be there like a shot for her on anything. So
anything. So in terms of friendships, do you have any advice for friends supporting someone going through cancer?
Do you mean the people that are going to look after their friend that's got cancer?
The friends themselves, the friends. Do you have advice for the friends?
I think there's no going, well, I've listened and Jackie did that. I think what you need to do is ask the person, would you like to go for a walk? And sometimes people say to me, oh, let me know if you want to go somewhere. It's quite hard to ask somebody or say, I'm popping round at 4, I'm going to drop off a meal. Which meal would you like? And sometimes you need that. But before that, maybe say to them, I am going to pop up in your world and help you. But if you don't want that, tell me. And then I'm there. I am there. I used to have, I had a group of friends sometimes would come round, and we were still, it used to be if they came in the garden. And I remember Jackie saying to them, everybody bring your own coffee so she doesn't have to make it. And it was lovely having a group of people come around because when I was really poorly, I couldn't really make that much conversation. So I could listen to the conversation and hear the chat that was going on. And that was really, really good. I loved that. And I had a little group of friends that we'd meet up every 2 or 3 weeks. They'd meet me at a cafe. And again, it was lots of people. I'd stumble in because I wasn't very well, wearing lots of jumpers and my hat, whatever. And I'd just listen. And it was lovely just to, for me, I like listening to what was going on in the normal world. And something like this. I was enjoying listening to what was going on in the normal world and not thinking about my world. But I think you have to see what the person wants. I had a lot of people that did a drive-by candle. I don't like candles, that's just me personally. But they would drop it literally at the door with a note, hi, I hope you're thinking of you. And it's lovely. But sometimes it's the one that stopped and put a more personal note in and said, I've got you do you want some flapjacks? I'm going to bring them round. I'd always say yes. And then I'd have to give Eddie one as well because he was being kind. But I think it's asking the individual and not thinking you know what's right for them and what they should do. It's like taking into account that they're a person and they might not want to talk about it. There's lots of people with cancer don't want to talk about it. Lots of people do want to talk about it. And they may be in between some of that. So really it's ask them.
Yeah, but I think it's really, really hard to balance between me having to visit you and ask you, how are you feeling? And I don't know how you will react as well. Maybe you don't want to be asked. So how can we balance? Because me, personally, Prudence, I do have a problem. I get so concerned, like, how is she doing? And did she go to that appointment, which she said she'll be going on Wednesday, and I want to follow up? Any advice for a lot of Prudence?
I think it is difficult because you don't know what the person's going through. But I would say, would you like me to pop round for a coffee? Or can I do something? Can I pick the kids up from school for you?
Right.
Things like that are useful. Do you want me to come round? I can bring, I've got an extra casserole. Do you want it? Because if nothing else, it fed for Eddie. So I didn't have to worry, so he didn't have to cook. So sometimes supporting the partner as well is good. But I think if you're close to them, treat them like you would have done before. The worst thing somebody ever did to me was go across a room. I could hear her go, "Oh, poor bless her." And although that's probably really kind, that really hurt. I was.
As it does.
I put on 2 stone. I'd got a hat. I'd got chemo. You don't always lose weight when you have cancer. You have so many steroids. I was round faced with a hat on, and it was somebody's 60th birthday, and everybody was arriving, and I'd gone, but I couldn't stay because I had to go for chemo in 2 hours. So I wasn't staying to the party. And then somebody walked in and said, "Oh, poor thing." That didn't go down well for me. But I am aware some of it's personal. But just be careful. Please speak to them normally. How are you doing? How's it going? Where are you in the thing? Do you want to talk about it? Or would you like to talk about what's happening with the gossip at the school gate? Because sometimes that's quite nice, refreshing. Don't want to talk about me, but what else can we talk about? So there's no real right way. I would love to say to you, Prudence, this is exactly what you say. It's different, everybody. But I think don't shun them. I had a couple of friends that really didn't speak to me much about it because they just didn't know what to say. And they've told me since. I felt awful. But somehow that felt terrible that they couldn't speak to me like I was... Because I wanted to feel like a normal human being. And I had cancer, but I was still a human being. But suddenly, because they were worried, I think you have to get over your own worry of speaking to them. Ask them, would you like to go for a coffee? Can I take you to would that help to take you to the hospital? Is there anything you need picked up? Can I help with the children? Would you like me to have them after school? Whatever it is, offer something and give them not ask for help, because sometimes it's very hard when somebody says, if you need anything, just ask. That's the hardest thing to do, to ring up and go, well, actually, I need the kids picked up at 3 and I need the dentist done at this. You want somebody to say, right, I'm free this afternoon. What jobs do you need doing? I'll come and do them. If you want them. If you don't, just say, but I'm free and I'll come over right now if you need stuff done. And if they're like, no, thank you, that's fine. You've tried. That's how it is.
Yeah, I see in the book you don't want people feeling pity for you. So all the time I was like, I am the people Helen is talking about.
And I probably was before I had it. And I think, of course, we could... Pity is a funny word, isn't it? So we feel sympathy for people. And, of course, we don't want to hurt. I think that's probably what you're feeling. But to just pity them and treat them... Maybe it's the treating differently that I didn't like. I'm still Helen and I didn't know at that time if the chemo was going to work. There were no promises for me. It was stage 3. They were like, we're going to absolutely blast this, but we can't promise you. On the form, Phil, it didn't say that I was, it was, that was the end. But it basically said there was a tick box and it said, I'm not ticking that yet because we don't know if we can cure you. So that was where I was. So if I'm only going to live X amount of time, I want to still see my friends and be treated like normal.
Yeah.
But that was me. And I think sometimes open the conversation, right, you are going through this. How do you want to work it? Would you like me to ignore the fact and we go out and do stuff? Or would you like me to help out? Or would you like me to really come over and listen to you because you just need to offload to somebody? Or you don't want it mentioned? Fine. I think you probably have to ask the person. But that asking, and if they rebut you and they say I don't need anything, just think that might be because they're so stressed about what they're going through. It's a lot. And how we all react, it's a lot. And how we react sometimes isn't how we want to react. It's just we're dead scared. Dead scared.
Yeah. So sympathy on the side.
You can be sympathetic, but you don't have to treat them differently. You can be sympathetic, but don't treat them like they're a different person.
Like a baby.
Like a baby. They're ill and they're poorly, and you've got sympathy for that, but they're still the person. I was desperate to be the person I was.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, there are people who will say, with phrases such as, your hair will grow back, don't you worry. My friend had cancer. Someone I know went through the same.
It's the
Did
good
those stories
cancer.
create
It's
any
the
hope?
good cancer. Oh, yeah.
Did it
Yeah.
create any hope for you or added more fear, or you did not want to hear about that?
I didn't want to hear any of those. The worst one I got was online, because I was still online with my business, and somebody said, oh, you haven't got cancer, you've got parasites. And I know some website you go to, and I'm pretty brave. I just ripped into it. I said, how dare you? And don't ever say that to anybody else that has cancer, because that is the most upsetting thing you could say. But I think the thing like hair, what people are trying to do is they're trying to comfort you, but the words come out wrong. Saying it's only hair, and it should be only hair. I've got stage 3 cancer, for goodness sake, but I lose all my hair. And for me, I do feel I'm not brilliant at doing my hair. I've got it tied back right now in a ponytail. But it makes me feel feminine. It makes me feel like Helen. I colour it. I like to have it blonder because it makes me feel like me. And I couldn't do that. My face was very rounded. I've always managed my weight. I didn't want to be overweight. And suddenly it was out of my control. And I'm on a fitness thing at the moment, trying to lose the last stone to get to where I want. But it was my choice to want to be there, and I couldn't be. So I think when people go, oh, don't worry about it, sort of dismissing that you are worried about it. It's like, well, what can we do to help? I had one friend one day say, I said, I don't want to take my hat off. She said, just take your hat off. And then the same friend came 2 weeks later. I saw her, she goes, I've had my hair coloured. I can't take my hat off. It's gone a funny colour. I was like, oh, I seem to remember you telling me it's okay to be bald. And I did go bald. I did lives, and I never wanted to wear a wig because I get hot, as you can see. Yes. And I thought I'd just take it off, and it'd be like me having a guinea pig on the table beside me. Terrible. If I went through it again, I might have a wig. But I was going through the winter, so I had loads of cool beanies. But
you will not go through it again.
No, I won't go. Touch wood, I won't. But you never know. I've got a mammogram in a week, so we'll see. I'm still being checked. I still get heavily checked. Anyway, so yeah, I think I don't think people mean it. I think there's very few people that are being nasty when they say things. Just take a second though, because to say, oh, you've got the cancer, that's the good one. How do they know? Or how do they know? Yeah. Oh, it's only stage 1, or it's stage. It makes no difference. If somebody tells you got cancer, you react as you react, and you just want somebody to go, oh, how are you feeling? Do you want to talk about it? What do you need from me? That's what I would probably say. What do you need from me? What can I do to make this journey better?
Yeah. Also, those people are not professionals. They'll just be saying, don't worry, this will pass and all that. So yes. I think it's better we just try to help in other ways, not give advice that we don't have, you know.
Or even just say, I don't know what to say to you. I'm scared of saying the wrong thing. Everybody will appreciate that. Don't worry, go for it. I'm going to try not to, but you pull me up if I say something that you just think that's ridiculous. But how can I help you? And what do you need to talk about? What can I do for you? True. That's what I would do. Yeah.
All right. So we go back to Agnes.
Yeah.
Yes. Going back to Agnes as we try to wrap up. You were diagnosed with cancer. Mm-hmm. And on Agnes, how long was the chemotherapy? Do you want to talk us through the chemotherapy journey and what was beyond the hospital chair?
So I started at the beginning of August, and I had my last one on Christmas Eve, and I went in a Santa hat and I had chemo. So Christmas Day wasn't so hot for me, or the days after, but my last chemo was then. I should have had it the week before, but I got a bit poorly in the middle. So to begin with, I had what they call the red devil, and I can't even remember what it's called now. That's a good sign. I said to Eddie, I've forgotten a few bits, and I think that's a good sign because I'm a little bit removed from it now. Yes. But they call it the red devil, and you have it every 2 weeks, and I had 4 of those. So that was the first 8 weeks, and you literally have a nurse sitting with you for that because it's very toxic. If it splits your splits your vein, it's an emergency. And then I went on to what they told me was 3 weekly chemo, and I remember thinking, oh great, 3 weeks. It takes me a week to recover, then I get 2 weeks. What they meant was they count 3 weeks as one thing, but you get 3 lots of chemo. So I went to weekly. So I went to weekly for the next 12 weeks. 12, must have been 12, 14 weeks. I can't remember it all now, you see. But it was weekly, literally. I went on a Wednesday to have my bloods. If my bloods were at the right level, so they have to watch your white blood cells because cancer obviously destroys everything, including those cells as well. And I then had to give myself injections every day. I used to cry about that because I'm not very good with needles, but my husband faints with needles, so it was all down to me. So I had to do injections, and it just builds up. The chemo builds up. But without the chemotherapy, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough that it had cleared everything by the time I'd finished. I got put on a very harsh regime. Not everybody gets put on it. I think there were 4 of us put on it, and 2 of us got through. The other lady had to go more stretched out. But my oncologist was like, if you can do this, this is the best way to do it. Well, not the best way for your cancer, because there's different cancers. They treat... Yeah. That's what I didn't really realise. Every cancer is so different. You know, down to how much chemo you have is down to your weight, your size, the type of cancer, whether your white blood cells are this, how many steroids you have. It's a fine balance. You know, they really do check your name and your date of birth when they're bringing up the stuff from the pharmacy, because it's specific for you. So, yeah.
That was a very long journey for you.
It was. And it was tough, and I won't lie.
Very tough.
But I knew it, in theory, it doesn't help everybody, but in theory it's supposed to help. And I had a scan. It must have been about October, November. And they said to me, we think it's shrunk. It's shrunk. One of them has shrunk by 1 centimetre. And that was the biggest boost ever, because I was like, well, what I'm doing is working. Because before that, we didn't know. But yeah, it was. But Christmas was fun, really. I sat around. I didn't do much. Everybody else looked after me with my Christmas hat. And it was nice to go in Christmas Eve. But, you know, every day there's wards and wards of people having chemotherapy. You wouldn't believe how many people are in, you know, there's one ward with like 12 seats. There's 5 wards like that. And St Luke's is a pretty small hospital. And then there's people are in the chairs every 2 hours. So that's masses of people going through every day with chemo.
Yeah. So were you positive? Were you positive about the whole process, the chemo? Were you hopeful? Or you had fear that... the chances are 65% or 20% that I will make it. How were you feeling? Were you wanting to fight it?
Yeah. Triple negative has, in the first early years, and I'm now in 4 years, so I've got that, has a 40% chance of returning. I, number one, didn't mind having a mastectomy. I was like, yep, get rid of that. And the chemo, I knew it would work for my husband. And that somehow, and then it's a different cancer, so that's ridiculous, really. But I knew it would work for him, and I'm a fighter. So if I had to do that, that was what they told me. I love my oncologist. He was funny as well. And he just said, I think you can do this. And if you can do this, this is your best chance. And that's what I took, because what else can you do? You know, people say you're brave. I wasn't really brave. I just did what I had to do. And I was fortunate, that my body fairly much stood up to it. There was only 1 week that my white blood cells dropped far too low. And actually, we made... lemonade out of lemons. We had a week away. We went off in the camper van because I could be away from the hospital for a week. So we made good out of it. But yeah, no, it is tough. But I think everybody finds a little bit extra. If you watch people in the chemo wards, everybody's got that bit of extra. And it's not something you have to worry you've got. You just get a choice, and that's what you've got to do. And it's really more down to whether your body can tolerate it, not your head, I think. So some people are unfortunate their bodies don't take to it as well, and they will change the chemo, they will do different treatments. I was just lucky my body was robust enough to do it. And
in your book, let me just get the book to show everyone I got it.
I found myself with it. This one or this one? There's 2. Yours is, see, I used to read this one out on TikTok, so mine's very well thumbed.
I love it. I love this book. So in this book, you mentioned about talking to yourself. There was a point you were talking to yourself. Tell us about those private conversations and the words you kept saying to yourself to keep going.
Yeah, I definitely believe if you commit to something, you can do it. And I've always talked to myself, which is a little embarrassing. I do feel I should have a dog, and then I could pretend I was talking to the dog. But I taught myself, I think I must treat myself a bit like Agnes. I say, Helen, you can do this. Helen, you can go 2 more steps forward. Helen, you can do the injection. I remember the injection. I was like, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I just deep breath in and do it. And I find it calming just to talk myself through things. I do it with everything. I always have done. So, yeah, I found some comfort in that. It was like I was supporting myself. And I've always believed that we should be our biggest cheerleaders. We don't. we're quite often in real life, we're really mean to ourselves. We say we don't look right, or the photo's not right, or we're not clever enough, bright enough, whatever. We wouldn't ever say it to a best friend, but we say nasty things to ourselves. So I'm a bit of a believer that I can tell myself off. Sometimes I go, Helen, stop it. And other times I'm like, yeah, you did good, keep going. And for me, I think it was more about saying just do another step, whether that was actually a physical step or a step in the process.
Yeah.
I had a little chart. I used to write I didn't think I put that in the book, but I used to write down my chemo and tick it off, like done. That one was done, because I got given like an outline of what I was going to have. So I was like ticking them off as I went. But yeah, everybody thinks I'm slightly nuts because I talk to myself, but it's quite comforting.
It is comforting. It's for you, so you don't need to worry about everyone
And
else.
the book I write that way. So the book, I am talking to you in the
Yes.
book. I'm speaking it as if I'm talking to me and you and everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. And this chemotherapy, you have been through a very tough journey. As much as you don't want us all to feel like that sympathy, but when I was reading this book, I was like, how did Helen fight this? How did she do it? And the number of times you were going to the hospital for chemotherapy,
Yeah.
each time I cannot say I was feeling it because I have never been in that position before. Only
Yeah.
a person who has been through that, like those radio, those big machines and all that. They
Yes, yeah,
understand.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
understand.
but I think that was the point of the book, was to explain some of it.
Yes.
Because you don't know what it means. I never knew. I remember sitting there being radioactive because they'd given me some injection because I had to go in some machine to see what was going on in my brain and my heart. And I remember then going, I need to go to the loo. They're like, oh, hang on a minute, clear the car park. You have to go in a special toilet. You don't go near any children. I was like, oh my
Don't
God.
touch
really?
things. Don't touch the door handle.
Don't touch the door handle. Yeah, you have read it. And I felt like I was glowing like the Ready Breck advert. I was like, oh, this is really weird. But so I thought it was quite nice to share it. And in some ways, although I don't want to relive it, it is a memory for me, and I will remember those things. And I think I'm probably quite good at observing things, because that day I was sitting on the side of a cabin with what I didn't know was a really expensive machine next to me. I thought, this machine, I'm in a shed. It was one of those mobile, I'm in a shed. They're bringing me to a shed, and I was supposed to be having this big scan, which is going to show if I've got cancer anywhere else. This is really important. And then suddenly these doors went clunk, 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 clunk. And it was state of the art, like theatre, come whatever, with the machine. I was like, oh, I've just been sitting beside that. So all the time I got the wrong thought. I just think there is something to be said, I think, in trying to, not toxic positivity, but trying to see the good out of things. And I thought, if I'm going to die, why do I need to be miserable for the whole, if I'm not going to get through chemo, why would I be unhappy in the in-between times for 18 weeks? Because I might only have this time left. And I think I thought that quite a lot, was like, and I'm not going to tell you it was all smiles. You've read the book, it's not. I have times where I just think, I don't want this anymore. And I had really black thoughts at some points, like, what am I doing this for? And then you pull it together, and maybe your neutrophils you get a bit more iron in your body and you feel a bit better. But I would say if anybody is going through it or going to go through it, do it and just get through it step by step, because the outcome for a lot of people is very, very good. And that's what we have to remember. So don't get off. I don't want people to get scared, and I hope the book isn't scary.
No, it's not.
No, I didn't want it to be scary. I wanted you to see, when they shout your weight out loud in front of everybody in the ward, it's fine. Well, how much?
So much. I love that you were so positive, but is there a point you were like, I think I'm going to die? Did you have that slight thought in this whole journey?
I would probably say that approached every day. I thought about writing letters to my children, because there was no guarantees for me. They just went, it's stage 3, it's triple negative. If we can't stop this, it's stage 4 and there's not a lot we can do. So they told me that. And that's why the first appointment I really thought, oh, she just told me I'm going to die. And they were like, no, she hasn't. She says there is some treatment and you're going to have it as quick as possible. But I think the chemo makes you feel very poorly. And therefore it's very easy to get very like, what's the point? I don't think I thought I was going to die from the treatment. I thought I'd get through the treatment. But for even now, I'm 4.5 years since my diagnosis is when they count it from. And I've got a mammogram on Monday. And already I'm going, because I said to my husband today, Oh, I love it in between because I get checked twice a year still. And not just a mammogram, I have to go and see the consultant. One's a mammogram, one's a consultant. And I said to him, trouble with the mammogram coming is I'm now frightened of the result. When I'm not having one, I just think, yeah, I'm cancer free, I'm good. I'm good. Now I'm going to have a scan, I will start to worry. Has it come to B? Because it's B they check, because the chances of it coming there or a different breast cancer are still quite high. And I'm like, are they going to, is my world going to change on Monday? Or a week after Monday when they give me the results? And that's really what I feel now is like, And I mentioned it here and you corrected me. You're really good and said it's not going to come back. I still have that in my head. I think that might be the way I go one day. But I'm happy if I'm 80. Let me get to that. But, I'll do my bit. It'll be what it'll be. And I am all now. You asked me earlier, how did it change me? What it's made me do is live my life now.
The full
now. So we've been to New York, and it's not all about holidays, but I'd never been to New York. I'd never actually been to Paris without being there working. So we went and had a nice romantic weekend there. We've been to Australia for 5 weeks. We've got a camper van. Oh, it's all there. And if we start to go, should we or shouldn't we go, yeah, let's do it. And I just don't hold back. It's like, yeah, I think if I'm thinking, should I do that or not? I think, yeah, just do it. Because nobody knows if they're going to be here tomorrow. Let's face it.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. So don't rely on it. Enjoy your life. Smile lots. Embrace family and friends and be grateful for the small things. It's very easy, isn't it, not to realise that we've got a roof over our head and we've got running water and there aren't bombs dropping and all that sort of stuff. So in relative forms, I'm going to be happy now. And I know a lot of people talk about being in the now and it's very the thing to say. It is really refreshing not to think about what's past and not to think what's coming. Just go, well, this is it. This is it. I'm having a great day. It's far too hot today, but I'm having a great day.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
It's
a great day.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your family and how positive you were. And there was a time you mentioned about your daughter that you were scared she may have it. Maybe it may be genetics and all that. And you were cleared of that. So was your family one of the reasons you kept fighting in the hardest?
100%. My kids may be grown up, but I wanted to sit. I didn't want to go. I didn't, for Eddie as well, but it was a lot for my children because although I said they could manage without me, which they can, most kids can manage without their parents once they get to 18 to 20. I know they still want me around. And they're now having children. I've just become a granny, so I've got a little grandson that's 3 months old. I wouldn't have seen him. I've got my son's wife is due in October, so it's like buses in my world at the moment. I know I'm far too young to be a granny. No, I'm not really. But anyway, I like to pretend I am. But, those things I wanted to see. And now I've got a small grandchild. I'm like, well, I'd like to get to the age where he knows who I am and I can have fun with him. And will I see his wedding? I don't know. So I think, definitely the drive. I think it's a mother's drive and maybe a father's drive too, but for your kids. I was like, I don't want to make them unhappy. I also didn't want to make my mum unhappy. Obviously, my parents are elderly, and my mum had already. They'd lost a boy before me who lived to a year, and I just remember thinking, I can't put my mum through that. I can't put through my mum through losing a second child. For the last 50 years, everybody's been fine. She's got 2 girls. But she lost a boy before. I probably wouldn't have been born. So, I'm very lucky to be here.
Yeah.
We'll both have a go at that. But, that's the thing about looking positively. But I just was really glad that my mum, she's still alive. She's 90. Nobody wants to see their kids go before them. So I didn't want to do that to them. So I was thinking about that as well. But I think predominantly my children. To me, they're still 5 and I still need to look after them. One's 34 and one's 32. And one's 29. They don't need me to look after them, but I still feel I do. Yeah.
Yeah. You're still their mum.
I'm their mum, and
their mum.
Yeah, I want to go at a decent age. They go, oh yeah, mum's got. Oh, we'll have her money. That'll be fine.
Mummy is still mummy.
Exactly. The one thing I did say to them once was because Lou, my daughter's very like me and very practical. I said to her, the only good thing. I said I'm not going, but if I do, I said my life insurance is still there and it's really good. I said, it'll pay both your mortgages off. She was like, all right, do I need to do anything? I was like, no. Yeah, so she's got the same humour as me. I said, no, you can't do anything because I don't get paid out. So don't think about, losing. But
don't think about it.
I just think you've just got to try in life to just It's not toxic. You don't want to be positive. You know, obviously sometimes people have dark times, and if it's really dark, see your GP, get sorted, talk to somebody. But I think for me, being sad was not going to help in any shape or form all the time. It was already awful.
Really hard.
Yeah.
It is really hard to fight it and be happy all the time, because there are ups and downs for everyone, whether you have cancer or not. We do have our highs and our lows, and
Absolutely.
we all need to understand that. So then Agnes was removed, was taken away.
Yep.
That was the treatment, part of the treatment. And what happened when Agnes was taken off? How were you feeling? Like, were you proud that at least the big problem is away now? I can finally be happy. Or you missed her so much?
No, I never missed her. Sorry. From the day she got her maths wrong, it was over. It was over. I wasn't going to miss her. I'm joking aside. When I had it done, I didn't know if I was clear at that point. So they had to take the tissue off to test it to say whether it was clear. So I still didn't know. And because it was in lockdown, I literally went into a theatre on my own. Eddie came to the door, wasn't allowed in reception, dropped me off. I went in, had the operation, and I got kicked out that evening. Literally at 10 o'clock, he was at the door and took me. And there was drains and all sorts at that time. And that was a bit of a shock. I thought it's just going to be, I'll be fine, get rid of it. Actually, the reality of it was a bit of a shock. And then I never really minded. For about a year and a bit, I had one boob because I've had reconstruction since. And it wasn't awful, but I like symmetry. And sometimes you'd wear something and think, oh, I'd rather have none than one. It was a bit like, that's a bit odd. So I used to have a really nice, in fact, if anybody's watching this, it's a big up for a company. They're called We Wear Boost. They're on Instagram. We Wear Boost. And I found these beautiful breast forms that were not like a boob. So the NHS gives you this thing that you can slap on the table. It's like looky likey boob. Who needs that? This is pretty. You almost would think it was like a flower made out of silicone. When I found that company, it was the making of me. You could wear it in a costume. It came in pink, in black sparkly. It came in green. They were awesome. So if anybody does need any procedures like that, We Wear Boost. Check them out. I think the girl's mum had cancer, and they didn't like the heavy forms, and you can swim in them. They're light, so you can wear them in the heat. They were brilliant. You're lucky, because when I used to wear it used to be the thing I used to get out on a podcast and show people, but I don't have that anymore. You're very lucky.
I'm not lucky. I also wanted to see.
One day I'll bring it. I haven't got them in here. I used to sit them in the office and they'd be sitting there. But for me, that made a difference. It might not for everybody.
Yeah.
But if I got uncomfortable, I took it out. I didn't want somebody finding in my handbag a thing that looked like a boob. I just wanted the shape. And you could have put it on a desk and thought it was some sort of pretty thing that was there. It wasn't a boob. You wouldn't have known. And that was, sometimes those little things are big things. And that was a big thing.
They are big things. They make a huge difference, even to your confidence and everything.
And I had one that matched my bikini. So if it showed a bit with the bikini, I didn't care. I was like, this is beautiful. I'm loving it.
So now what do you have? Do you only have one, or?
No. So this one here, sorry everybody, this was Agnes. Now, for anybody that's ever thought I've got a baby belly and I don't like it, they made my tummy into a boob. And it is fantastic. It's like somebody has done a bit of patchwork. It's not like stuck on. It's literally take the tissue, lift it up, and they've just popped my fat from my tummy into my boob. And here's the thing. I got a tummy tuck. Thank you very much. I got a new boob, which you wouldn't know was. I didn't have a nipple tattooed on it because I didn't want it, but it looks like a boob. You wouldn't really know. And then the other one, they went, oh, it's a bit lower than the other one. Obviously, thank you very much. I had a lot of that. I used to laugh when they go, oh, it's got a stage 2 droop. They hitched that one up for me. So I'm living the dream now. I've got 2 boobs that are up here. I've got a tummy tuck. There has to be an upside from. I wouldn't suggest anybody wishes it for all of that. And I can tell you, a tummy tuck is 12 weeks of, oh my goodness. Yeah. But now I don't have to think about it. I just put a bra on, put a bikini on, and it is what it is. Yeah, so it's all really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So as we conclude, so that you go and get some fresh air somewhere that I don't know.
I don't know where though. Yeah.
Okay. So did surviving cancer change your priorities as a businesswoman, a wife, a partner, a mother, and friend? Did it change your priorities? Is it health first now, or is it family first even more? How is it going?
I think I'm pretty much how I was, because I've always been like this. I've always try to see the best out of everything. My business took a hit because I could only run it to the level. So I'm still building my business back up, and I'm loving that. So I'm getting back on stages, as you know, and doing stuff like that. So I'm loving it. But as to changing me, I think it's really just living in the now, or reminding myself, because I think it's hard to live I live in the now. I do try and think, if I feel miserable, I let myself, I'm really good at going, you can have 5 minutes to go and sob. And if you really want to sob, put a sad film on and fill your boots for an hour. And then I say to myself, right, this negativity is not helping me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see what I can do to make things better. Get off the floor, wipe your tears, and go again. And I think that's probably what I do now, is like you're allowed to have a meltdown. Everybody does. But I don't really like being in a meltdown. It doesn't feel nice to me. So what can I do? And quite often I'm out walking. I love walking. I love a good black coffee. So if I can go for a walk and get a coffee. I like seeing my friends. I like going on holiday. I like travelling. Just doing the things I love to do and looking after myself best I can, but not hysterically. So I still enjoy a glass of wine. I still enjoy a bit of chocolate, and I always will. Sometimes people go very down the route of you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't eat this. I'm just thinking I'm just going to feed my body the best I can and enjoy my life. And at some point, we all have to go. I just don't know when it is now, which is much nicer.
Yeah. Okay, Helen. So complete this sentence as we are wrapping up. Cancer took something away from me, but it also taught me dash. What has it taught you?
So cancer took away Agnes. And it taught me that I always thought I was tough. I am far tougher than I thought. And yeah, I think it taught me that, and to understand now. I have an understanding, whether that taught me, but I have an understanding of what people go through. And although I didn't want to go through it to have that, it is quite nice to have an understanding when somebody says I've had cancer too, and you can go, me, and I get it. So yeah, that's what it's taught me.
I have learned so much from this. Honestly, this is very eye-opening. I think for everyone who will listen. Whether you had cancer before, it's really educative, how we see people, how we relate to people, what we say, and when not to say things. So
absolutely.
For the woman listening, or to anyone listening who has recently heard the words, you have breast cancer, leave her with a message from your heart, Helen. Any words?
Well, first of all, message me. I will always message somebody back in my DMs. I've always got somebody in there. I think take every step, listen, and also say to people what you want, because sometimes it can be quite overwhelming. You get leaflets and pamphlets, and as I said, the first time I got told, I thought she said, you are going to die. And I literally did think that's what she said. But she sort of worded it, it's not good, but I heard you're going to die. So have somebody with you if you can. Quite often they'll give you a nurse. And if you're not happy with your treatment or anything like that, ask or tell them. And, you know, don't think, oh, I shouldn't say anything. And it's perfectly fine to feel absolutely awful and feel it's like the worst thing in the world. And then see what you can do to make yourself feel a little bit better. Do something you love doing and reach out to people, and try not to keep it. Some people want to keep it to themselves, but try to share with somebody. I think sometimes we all benefit from just talking to somebody that will just listen. You know, somebody's not going to judge you and just lets you, like me, I moaned at poor Jackie. It was all about me and she let me do it, and it was the best thing she did. The poor woman probably had earplugs in, I reckon. But anyway, all I needed was just to get it out, you know, my frustrations.
Yeah. Okay, so where can people get hold of you?
I'm all over Amazon, so if you put Helen Bullen or Agnes B, Cancer and Me in, you will get this book and you'll get this book come up.
Yes.
You'll get all my books actually. But Agnes B, if you put Agnes B, Cancer and Me, that brings it up. And Helen Bullen, author, it will come up in Amazon. Best place to get it.
Instagram, Facebook, are you there?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm Helen Bullen UK. So on Facebook and Instagram, Helen Bullen UK. There's a link to my book there. As I said, if you want to direct message me, I'm more than happy for somebody to send me a DM. Even if it's a partner or a friend, just ask me. I'll try. I might not have the answers, but sometimes it's nice just to soundboard somebody. But yeah. But you can buy the book. You can order it in bookshops. You can also get it from libraries too. So it's on all the bookshops too. But quite often they won't have it in stock. You'll have to go in and order it, but you can order it too.
All right. Thank you so much, Helen, for allowing us to meet you today. It's been a pleasure. It's been an amazing chat. I have learned a lot, and I'm sure so many people are going to learn a lot. Thank you for introducing us to Agnes and B. Does Agnes have a new name again, or she was totally replaced with the name as well?
She's totally replaced, but I wonder whether I should call them Pinky and Perky because they're quite perky. Yeah, so
you have to change B's name.
Do you know what I do? I call this one Belly Boob because it is from my belly. So this is B and this is Belly Boob.
Oh, B and Belly Boob.
Yeah, it's not a real boob, but it looks like one, but it's not. So I call it Belly Boob. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you
You're
so
right.
much.
I do name everything.
To Helen and her naming us. I think I have a name too. She gave me a name, but I don't think she'll ever tell me.
No, I haven't given you a name. You're Prudence. You can't be anything else. What a wonderful
I don't know, because
wedding.
in the hospital you gave this man a name, and
That's because they were nasty.
Anyways, thank you all, everyone. Thank you, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Prudence Network, and we're on Apple Podcasts, and on Instagram, it's Prudence Meza. Thank you so much, Helen, and goodbye. Bye.